From here, we move into gender identity theories. So, gender identity theories, it's important to note that sometimes gender and biological sex are synonymous with each other. The actuality lies in that gender is the relation to masculinity or femininity. So how the person identifies themselves or expresses themselves in terms of being masculine or feminine, and not necessarily male or female. So in these areas, we have women's identity development, men's identity development, and transgender identity. Also with the transgender identity, we've got to make sure that, again, it's based on how the person expresses themselves. Sometimes transgender gets confused also with sexual orientation. So it's not necessarily their preference of a male or female partner. It's just how they like to express themselves in terms of masculine or feminine. From there, we move into sexual identity and sexual orientation. So in these, again, sometimes these terms get used synonymously, where sexual identity is actually more about sexual expression. So characteristics a person looks for in a partner, the type of sexual activities the person likes to engage in, not necessarily the physical preference of male or female, which would be sexual orientation. So here we have heterosexual identity. There's not a lot of research done on heterosexual identity. It's one of those things that I guess falls into the privileged type of class, or the dominant class, and so it hasn't really been researched all that much. The research that they do have is criticized quite a bit for not looking deeper into the context behind male and female and others when applying their theory. After that, we also have the gay, lesbian, and bisexual identity development. Like other minorities, being both race, ethnicity, and women, you have themes of oppression, isolation, marginalization, and invisibility. Okay, so it seems to be a commonality between the minority groups and their identifying experiences, what they can relate to, what they might have been through. Also, in the gay, lesbian, and bisexual identity development, there seems to be a rift for those falling under the bisexual identity, much like there might be one experienced with those in the biracial area, where they're not necessarily gay or straight or homosexual or heterosexual. They fall in between and aren't really considered one or the other, and in some cases meeting with opposition from both sides of the spectrum. All these theories ultimately culminate in the multiple identity theory, and so this is the practice of using each one of these theories to try to lay out the experiences and set up a path for student identity development. It is a very complex pathway to try to navigate. Considering all the factors that may be at play, looking at race, ethnicity, gender, looking at biological sex, age, even. Okay, so all these things are something to take into consideration. The chapter doesn't expand a whole lot on it. It wants you to more or less recognize all the factors that would go into the process. That's more important, is recognizing all these individual parts rather than the sum of using them. Because even in these cases, working with students, we all know that students are very diverse. You're not going to run into a whole lot of them that are exactly the same as another student. I know I haven't come across a whole lot. And so this will ultimately help us lay out a plan for these individual students by knowing each one of these theories separately and being able to apply them ourselves as we see necessary. Thank y'all, and I look forward to your responses.